Right then, we return with the hype train at 24% at the level 4. My lord, thank you very much, everyone. Fantastically kind of you. Right, with that done then, we need to have a look at how much steel is going to be required for me to build this. Quite a lot, because each one of these costs 50. That being said, though, before I place that down, we need to decide on how I'm going to clear up the regolith, because that is a big thing that I'm going to need to do. Is it shipping that does it? Yes. You see, a Robo-miner clears an area of regolith when it falls. Now, if I have it out of the way so it can't ever be struck by it, it is generally ideal. I want them to be about equal in dimensions. So one there would be good. Then one here would be good as well. So let's cancel that one. Now the problem with the Robo-miners is they are hot little things. Very, very hot. We want to make these out of steel for that reason. So if I have one there, that'll help out. Now the issue with this is this Robo-miner can, and absolutely will on occasion, get covered in regolith. So I need, realistically, I need the Robo-miners to basically be on a buddy system, really, where they will cover each other's backs. It's not steel efficient to do it this way. But what I could do is have a Robo-miner here and a Robo-miner here, so that they can cover this area, and then I could get do away with having Robo-miners beneath. I could have another Robo-miner there, for example, because it'll never get covered in regolith, because this could have a wall above it. Ideally, though, I do want to be able to strip all of that away. It's a tricky one. Certainly a tricky one. The other thing I could do is I could have the Robo-miners in a little enclosure that deactivates. Now, the way that a lot of people do it, let me quickly show pick a principle. The way a lot of people will do Robo-miners. Oh, thank you so much, everyone. Hype success. By all means, please do share your new hype emotes in chat. Share them liberally. Oh, take care, Skull Ghost. I'm off to bed. Have a good stream, Aavak. Take care, mate. Have a good sleep. There is a super cheesy method of doing this, though. And that is, effectively, you will do something like this. Let's say you'd have a Robo-miner there, able to cover a Robo-miner here, I think. You would place it here, or you'd do something along these lines. Basically, you'd need liquid. You'd have a little drop of liquid in the corner, and then you'd pipe. You'd have a pipe running along it. Now, I don't recall. I think it's called a C-miner configuration. Basically, you'd have this there such that it could cover. So, if we put the Robo-miner here, for example, like that, we could anchor this to something like a mesh tile. Like this, and this is why they're called C-miners. You'd have a little drop of liquid there with some drywall or something behind it. Let's go for that. So you do this. You wouldn't even necessarily need two bits. You just need one there where there's going to be a tiny, tiny blip of liquid. Then you'd have a cooling pipe running through it. And it's that simple. These would be up in the air, so they would never get covered with regolith, ideally. And the liquid would allow the coolant to interact with the temperature of the Robo-miner, because the liquid would act as a transmission medium for the heat between the Robo-miner and the liquid in the pipe. And that's how you cool it down. But it does feel really cheesy to me. Choose a method of using multiple yeah, and then there's the method of using automatic airlocks. Effectively, I think if an airlock shuts horizontally, it deletes what's there. But if an airlock shuts vertically, it shunts it across. So you would use automation to cause these to close in sequence. Effectively, a bunch of regolith would fall down. They'd all be open. And then these would all close on this level, which would delete whatever regolith was there. And then these would close one after the other in a sequence like a wave. And it would just slowly shunt the regolith along. No, you're right. Liquid wouldn't stay on the mesh tiles. So, for example, you could use, I don't know, whatever. You could use airflow tiles instead. So the liquid would be able to sit there. But the main thing is that it would give you a transmission medium. Would love to stay a bit longer, but now my tiredness is catching up. Gotta go to sleep now. Have a great stream, everyone. I'll take care. Thank you so much for dropping by. And the little rabbit, thank you very much for the 8 months. Sub great, indeed. Sub great. Someone commented recently. I wasn't aware that they were quite disappointed at the idea that I was making fun of the developers, even though they'd fixed the problems. I'm not making fun of them. I'm lamenting that it's gone. It became something of a bit of the charm of the game. Granted, when I first was playing on it, I was like, oh my lord, that the grammar not being right is a little bit annoying. But no, that absolutely grew on me to the point that when it wasn't there anymore, I'm legitimately sad about that. I really, really like the grammar being incorrect. I think it's a real. I don't know. It's definitely part of the game's charm, in my opinion. Yeah, it's basically a conveyor belt. Yeah, it's a door conveyor belt. Absolutely. Which I'm not as keen on. Not gonna lie. So ideally, what I would like is for these to cover each other. Such that there would be a place which is safe for them to operate. Now the issue here is there's nowhere that's really going to be safe unless every so often I have one which is in the middle and thus never going to be covered by a never going to be exposed to the sky above. Like, so for example, in this scenario, we would have bunker tiles above this one at whatever height that we make it. 4 is just as good as anything else. So the bunker tiles would exist there. Nothing will ever land on this. The regolith will pile up here in gross amounts, but it'll never fall down there. But then we need some way of cleaning the top. The idea is that we let all of the regolith fall down. That's the ideal. Again, it seems that this one doesn't have an overheat temperature, so I could just make this whatever I wanted it to be. But effectively, I can't allow... If I put this here, then that one can't be there. Unless I accept that I'm going to lose a little bit of the quality of this scan. Which I'm not necessarily awfully against. I could lose a tiny bit of quality on the very edges, with the view of having more of them set up over time. So something like that would allow me to scan the grade area here. That wouldn't, once this filled up with regolith, that would fail. I guess I could just allow people to go up there every now and then and clean it out manually. I mean, just having to clean a tiny little area like that is certainly a lot easier than having to clean a huge area like this every now and then. Oh, take care, Tom Sawyer. The other thing we can do is just not even bother trying to mine it automatically, and instead have a completely manual system. I would just have bunker tiles above this mesh, such that when there's a meteorite storm, they close, making this basically impervious to damage. And when it isn't, they open up and allow this to see the sky again. That is certainly an option, actually. I've never really considered that one. I've always thought of having automated systems to try and take care of it. Somewhat tempting, I must confess. What say you, chat? Problem is finding the right spot. Like, I could have something over here, maybe. Something right there. Because I think these are 2 by... yeah, they're 2 by 2. So I put one there. There would be an ability for it to accrue material above there, unfortunately, but this is the part where, you know, this is the kicker with space exploration, is trying to solve the heat issue. I could angle... That is a very good point. Yes, I could angle it such that the... Oh. What a fantastic point. These robo-miners would be able to mine that bunker tile. Aha. You clever so-and-so. I approve. Enormously, in fact. There's very large levels of approval going on right now. Okay. I like this plan. I like this plan a lot. Now, these robo-miners would have to be kept cool. As I've mentioned, that would be done by a little vent. In fact, I could replace this as well. That gets a little bit of a problem there, but... These can be a little bit further aside, actually. So let me shunt all of that across by one. Same on this side. All we need is a little drywall pocket with a gas vent that would accept a very, very minimal amount of gas that would allow them to bleed heat away from the Robo-miner. The Robo-miner itself would have some drywall. That would be under utilities, made of whatever, really. Or it could even have thermal. Well, temp shift plates doesn't really help. Honestly, actually, we wouldn't even need the drywall there. Because the moment the gas comes up, I'm happy for the gas to go. If I put drywall there, then the drywall would gain temperature, so the gas might not pull heat away quite as effectively. But we would definitely need drywall in here, no matter what. So we'd have a little bit of drywall there, for example. And then a little vent. Just a little something. Now, the easy way of doing it would be to make these rooms each ever so slightly larger. And that way, I could have the gas valve in the room. So I do something along these lines. A little tiny gas valve. Doesn't need to be made of anything particular. It's not going to be handling particularly hot gas. Gold amalgam would do. Just something like that. And I don't even need a high pressure gas vent. It's never going to need to be high pressure in here. And then the pipe would run... It could run directly underneath. It could run atop. Doesn't matter. It would just need to branch. I could have it run through it, so it would give... Well, that gives priority, which I might not want. But the idea would be that it would run through, and it would allow just tiny little bits of gas out, and then the robo-miners would sit atop them, and that tiny little bit of gas would be, ideally, sufficient to keep the Robo-miner cool. Once you get into space, you can make a Robo-miner that will basically keep itself cool by having 300-degree regolith dropped on top of it. It's kind of silly how you can play around with it. Voxus Dixon, thank you very much for the Prime sub. That's really kind of you. And She's a Geek, thank you very, very much for the gifted sub as well. That is really, really kind. Thank you so much, everyone. But yeah, black body radiation isn't simulated in Ollie. More's the pity, really, because that would be fantastic. But with steel, the overheat temperature is 275. As you can see here, regolith can regularly be 300 or more degrees. But later on, you can make it out of space materials that can have an overheat temperature of like 500 or more. Or somewhere around there. I'm not actually sure the temperature. You know what? Let me have a quick look. Perhaps we can quickly see. Thermium. It has a melting point. I'm not sure how much is... Yeah. Overheat temperature of 900. So, at that point, a Robo-miner would only overheat if it's got... So, what is your overheat temperature? Yeah, 975 degrees. Nothing is going to drop on it that's 975 degrees. In fact, everything that drops on it is going to be lower than that. So, at that point, you just let regolith drop on it. You want regolith to drop on it, because every time regolith does drop on it, it cools it down. This thing would be hotter than the regolith. It would bleed heat into the regolith, not the other way around. And then when the regolith gets mined, well, it's no longer touching it, so that heat is now gone away. So later on, it becomes a really, really simple problem to be dealing with. But what's the temperature in here? It's cooling quite quickly. It's almost to the point that this is going to shut down. But that copper volcano is going to be active for quite some time. When are you active? You are active. Never mind then. But you're only... Such a pain in the bum, this. It is active for so little time. So little time. It's such a pain. But, oh. The gas won't dissipate in the airflow tile, no. The gas will move through the airflow tile and into space, and then it'll dissipate. But in the airflow tile itself, no. It doesn't dissipate. Thankfully, because that would suck. Now, setting all of this up, of course, is going to be a massive pain in the bum. But it is a massive pain in the bum that we need to do. Ultimately, I actually do want access from down below. Thinking about it. I kind of want a maintenance hatch. Oh, I like the sound of that, actually. Oh, I like the sound of that a lot. Little maintenance corridor running along. It's going to be a Jeffrey's tube. Now again, this is all assuming that this thing can't melt. Doesn't overheat. If it does, well, my plans are going to go awry rather sharply. Don't want to use steel for this. What I would like to use is something that a shovel, which there are probably quite a lot of out here, can't burrow through. I don't think they can move through these tiles. I'm fairly certain they can't move through those tiles. What on earth are you doing, Snowfoot? Snowfoot was very confused there for a moment. Thank you. Oh dear. I mean, technically this is okay, but the moment you dig that down one more step, you're not going to be able to get down there. Well, actually, that's fine. Just go back the way you came. Thank you. Now, I'm fairly certain that the shovels can't move through through mesh tile or airflow tile. Could someone confirm that for me in chat? Aavak, I know it's a weird thing to ask, but why do you stream so late? Are you not getting tired? No, I sleep very... Normal is such a weird word. I tend to have a very different circadian rhythm. I'm not even sure you could describe it as a circadian rhythm. You thought they could move through any tile that wasn't made of refined metals. Well then, in that case, can I make this of refined? I cannot. Poop. Can I? No, I cannot. Also poop. Alright then. Gonna have to get rid of these and replace them with obsidian then. It's kind of annoying, but alright. Because that should prevent them from getting into the rest of the base. Honestly, I could just hunt them down when they got in. Realistically. Just rather not have to. Being lazy for the win. That should prevent them ever getting inside. Is it an ADHD rhythm? No, not that I'm aware of. Currently I sleep on a biphasic cycle. Though, as hopefully once a degree of normalcy comes back to everyone's lives, I'll return to a triphasic sleep cycle. I sleep for a very short amount of time, twice a day. And a triphasic is, I do that for an even shorter amount of time, 3 times a day. Basically, my body clock kind of works, it doesn't quite fit into a 24-hour cycle, it's more like a 30-hour cycle. Why it is that, who knows? Probably just from the way I was studying when I was in uni, honestly, but here's what it is. Though I've always slept weirdly. Now, I'm going to have to make sure that they can't, because they could possibly just wander down here, which is an issue for me. I could make a manual airlock out of... Why do I always have to make them out of steel? No, I want to make them out of iron or something. Something that isn't horrifically expensive. Fine, I'll make them out of this, but that's also kind of annoying. And then I'm going to have to replace that with obsidian as well. The rest of it can be fine. We'll want mechanical airlocks. From there, probably. This way, if a shovel gets down into this little cavity... Ooh, now. Right. Does that prevent it from seeing space is the question I have. And it is an incredibly important question, that one. So much so, we need to build up to find out. We absolutely need to know if that background there is going to prevent this from doing its job. Yeah, my work allows me, affords me the opportunity to be like that. I was very much the same in uni. Again, that's possibly where it came from, really. I have never worked well on other people's schedules. I was very much like that in school in general. I'd always do my homework in massive bursts in the middle of the night, rather than gradually spreading it out across many days. It wasn't even a case that I would let it until the last moment. Sometimes I'd do it as soon as I had it. It was just that I would feel particularly driven to be active at 3 a.m. at night, so I would do that. Though having to go to school did make that a little bit less ideal, because I was knackered in school then. Thankfully, never fell asleep. Shockingly, never fell asleep. But outside of that, once it was uni, and it was just a case of my professor would tell me, okay, this is the stuff that you need to hand in. Here's where the lectures are going to be. If you don't want to turn into the lectures, that's fine. Unless it isn't fine, you do have to. But those ones are marked. But as long as the work is with me when it's meant to be, you do you. Some people work better when they have a a tight schedule. Some people don't. Some people work better when they are in constant contact with their tutors. Some people prefer to just be left alone. Whatever works for you, as long as it works, is fine. And that worked fantastically well for me. I was very, very appreciative of them just being a case of do your work when you want to, as long as it's done on time. Oh dear. You really need to get down here, mate, before you get sunburned. Now this mesh tile should be able to handle the impact of come on, let's get you in. Oh, did you get sunburn? Oh, you did, you dummy. Oh well, too late now. But we should now be able to see if that will work. It does work. That does still count, thank goodness. Now, this can't be within 16 tiles of industrial machinery. I don't know what counts as that. I'm fairly certain Robo-miners do not count as that, though. Thankfully. But we'll get to that in a moment. I think the airflow tiles and mesh tiles are basically indestructible. I think. Do not know. Well, I'm sleepy, so I'm off. We'll stay in lurk mode, but have a good night. I'll take care, mate. These, for those of you who aren't aware of my second YouTube channel, Aavak After Hours, it's where I upload my stream VODs. There's still a lot of worry around the whole Twitch DMCA stuff. So as a result, quite a lot of the VODs don't hang around on my Twitch channel for particularly long anymore. Once they're up on my YouTube channel, I will tend to take them down from here. Just because, like with something with Oni, it's not going to be as much of an issue, but I'll probably just do it out of habit. Still, they will be up on Aavak After Hours. I am going to tend towards, for the next little while, uploading very, very quickly. So once I've done a stream, I will aim to get it up within a day or 2 days from having streamed it in its entirety. So that might be quite a lot of episodes if it was a particularly long stream. So if you do miss anything, don't worry, you can catch up over there. It shouldn't be too hard. Now, I do need to consider fixing this, really. How I'm going to fix it, I have no bloody clue. That is a bit of an issue. That said, no. This is a tricky one. I could rely on the fact that my dupes can climb a single tile. And what I mean by that is that if I do something like this, and I have a tile there, I will be able to say, okay, my dupe can stand there, jump down onto the ladder, and walk up the other side. That may actually work for us. But whatever I do, I need to do it soon before this thing fills up with loads of oil. Because that's going to cause me all manner of problems if I don't resolve this now. White Hammer, thank you very much for the 28 days, mate. Aavak, how do you do showers, bathrooms, and bedrooms? There we are. I tend towards a... I pause it for a moment because this will take a little bit of explaining. The way I do work shifts is I will have... Basically, right now we've got 4 different shifts because I've got 4 different barracks. Sorry, 3 different shifts, because I've got 3 beds in each barracks. The more barracks I have, the more dupes I can have in each shift. But right now I'm operating with a 3-shift cycle. So I've got Dawn Watch, Day Watch, and Dusk Watch. I'll get to the battle as soon as I'm done explaining this. Effectively, by doing this, in each barracks, only one person is going to be on bathroom break at a time, because they are spread out across the different watches. So as a consequence, as long as I keep it so that each person in a shift has a separate barracks from anyone else in that shift, then I only need one sink, one toilet, one shower. And so that's how all of that is. I'll show you the plumbing. It's a mess, basically. But yeah, it's the same plumbing as everything else. The water goes in, water comes out, gets sent back in. It's not an enclosed system. It actually does go out and in, so that water can be used elsewhere if I need it to be. But this way I reduce, like I've got 12 dupes running off 4 toilets and 4 sinks. They never have any kind of overlap. If I've got night owls, I think I do have 1 or 2, but they'll be in dusk watch, so they're active during the night. Though day watch would also be active. In fact, all of them would be active at night, but would get the bonus at night. But that's the way that I handle that. I just find it so much easier if you've got everyone on a different schedule. You only ever need 1 toilet. If I wanted to, I could have 12 different schedules and 1 barracks with 12 people in it, and still have 1 bathroom, one shower, one sink, and it would still work. But I like to have the barracks spread out a little bit like that.